Hey guys, it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel and to another PLANMAS or day 7 of PLANMAS. This is going to be a plan with me for the week of November 9th through the 15th, and I'm using the August mystery kit from Scribble Co. I believe it's the August mystery one. If it's not, it'll be different in the title. But this is kind of the road trip type themed kit, and this is the week that we went to Washington to go pick up my sister's puppy. So we did kind of do a road trip up to Washington and back. We drove like, I think, a total of 40 hours, so I definitely think this kit kind of warrants being used. But yeah, this is the third time I have filmed this voiceover, and I will be honest, I had a really rough day. I had a really rough morning, and I struggled a lot today, and I don't know exactly why. It was just not a good day. But I struggled while filming this plan with me because I also filmed this plan with me today, and also I'm doing this voiceover, and like I said, this is my third time doing this voiceover. I struggled while filming this, and it's a hot mess. We're a hot mess today, but that's okay. We're gonna move on from it, and tomorrow will be a better day. But anyway, we did, like I said, go to Washington on this day. My sister was picking up her puppy, and she knew like a friend or someone up there that had the puppy, and that's the reason why we went up there, and she didn't want to ship the puppy, so that is why we drove up there. So we did drive all from Wednesday night at like 10 o'clock at night to Thursday. We got to Seattle at like 6 o'clock p.m. and then we were there for the full day on Friday, and then we left Saturday night at like 6 o'clock, and then we did get home on Sunday at like 4 or so. It was still light out when we got home, but yeah, that was kind of our whole entire like trip. It was a very quick trip because my sister had to come back to work, and also her friend also worked on Monday as well, so they couldn't really extend it more. So we unfortunately were just not able to make it a longer trip. It was literally a go get the puppy, come back type trip and see a little bit of the things. Also, really quickly, if you notice on Wednesday, I put down 2 full boxes on there. I do realize it, and I do fix it eventually. But yeah, it was actually really cool. It's always been a dream of mine to go to Seattle. I've been to Oregon before. I've never been to Portland, but I have driven through Oregon while driving to Idaho in high school. And technically that Idaho trip, we were there for a week, and then we did go to Alaska, and we flew to Alaska. And we had a layover in Washington. So technically I've been to the airport in Washington, but I've never been like technically through Washington. So it was really cool to actually finally be able to go there. New York has always been number 1 on my list to travel to, and I did travel to New York a couple years ago. After that, Seattle kind of became the high priority. And New Orleans. New Orleans is up there also, but yeah, Seattle has always been on my list to visit, and I'm so excited that we were finally able to go. It thankfully was not insanely rainy until we left. It was actually pretty good weather the entire time, and it was great. My little tourist heart was very happy, and we had a good time. It was fun. It was very exhausting because, here you go, here's me noticing that I messed up that full box. It was very exhausting because we got very little sleep the first couple of days, but it was a very good trip, and it was a fun trip. Obviously now we do have Riley, who is our newest puppy. She was 10 weeks old when we picked her up, so I don't know how many weeks we are from that, but obviously she's bigger and older now. She was a little bit of a menace sometimes. She's like a cute little butterball, but I did share a couple photos of her on my personal Instagram and my planner Instagram, more on my personal one, but I did show one photo, I think, of her on my planner one. So some of you guys did see that, and I actually got a lot of people commenting on it. When I shared it on my personal one, everyone was just like, oh my god, she's so cute. So yeah, and also for anyone who doesn't know, she is a black and white husky. I think she has a little bit of Malamute in her, I think. So she's gonna be bigger, which Bailey is probably not gonna appreciate because Bailey is a pretty skinny, lanky husky. So she might not appreciate that Riley may be bigger than her, but we'll see what happens. But Yeah, so that's kind of what happened this entire week. Obviously, I'll talk a little bit more once we get into the actual plans. But it was just really, really cool to finally be able to go to Seattle. It was a little weird though, traveling during a pandemic. It was, I don't know, we tried to be as safe as possible. We actually had a tiny bit of a, like, not a scare, but like the friend that went with us, who I know actually decently well, it's my sister's friend. He actually had a coworker that tested positive, that we found out she tested positive the day after we came back. So at that point, we were already exposed to him anyway. So we were like, all right, well, if we got it, we got it. And also, we had already gone to the trip. So he actually went to go get tested because it was his coworker. And if he got tested also and he came back negative, we would have known that we made it to and from back, like to and from Washington without getting it. And he was negative, so we were all good. Don't worry, guys, we didn't end up getting it. So we were good. We had a little bit of a COVID scare, but I've had a couple of those. Thankfully, every single time that I have technically been exposed to it, the other person has been negative. So yeah, I've been technically exposed to it through another person. So the person has been exposed, and they didn't know they were exposed. Before like I was like around them, and that then they go get tested, they're negative, so then I'm negative obviously. And the other person is my brother because he works, so he actually works for the fire department, so he kind of gets a little bit more exposed obviously than other people. But yeah, so we had that. Other than that, it was a pretty good trip and it was really fun. So yeah, anyway, we can move on to actual plans now. Really quickly, I wanted to mention on the sidebar, if you notice the my little YouTube kind of checklist area, I did mess that up. I didn't write one of them correctly, so I just left it. I was like, I'm just gonna leave this, but obviously I did not publish new releases on Wednesday. I published it on Thursday, so that was my mistake. I messed it up, but I was not gonna change it. I was just gonna leave it. So anyway, on the sidebar, I did put in that we had a new member of our family, so I put in a fox and cactus girl with a dog to mark that. And then Monday through Wednesday was me kind of prepping for, or not prepping, but finishing as many orders as I could from my shop, because my shop did open the week before this. And a fun fact, was actually supposed to open this week, but I ended up having this trip instead, so I opened it the week before it. So I did publish a plan with me, so I used a Mandy Dreams filming slate to mark that. And then we did get an oil change in my car. My car is pretty much brand new. It's a year old technically at this point, but because of the pandemic, I have not been commuting to work, so it doesn't have as many miles on it as it would have. So it is a little bit newer, but we did get an oil change on it because it only had like 30% life on it, and we wanted to make sure we had a good enough oil for the whole entire road trip up to Washington. So I just used a car icon from the foil that came with this to mark that. And then we did go to Bath and Body Works, so I used a emoji from the Bath and Body Works sheet for that. And then we did go to Target as well, so I used a Once More with Love Target Munchkin and a Target Run script that came with the foil again with this kit. I don't know why my voice is now dying. It's probably because I've tried to do this voiceover 3 times now, and right around this time frame is when it constantly like ends up getting interrupted. But underneath that, I then put down a squared off box and a Whimsical Cat Studio Girl with a envelope. I can finally use these. I feel like I never use them because I don't mark Happy Mail anymore. But I have so many like envelope stickers, so I can now use them to mark that I go to the post office. So I think I did a post office run on this day, and then I know for sure I did one on Wednesday as well to drop off some orders. And then I did FaceTime Eva on this day, so I used a Fox and Cactus Girl to mark that. And last but not least, I did laundry, so I used a Glam Planner Bippity and Boo, and the laundry script is the foil from the kit. Moving on to Tuesday, I put down a fancy label and then a Munchkin drinking some coffee and a Duncan script from Kinsey's Creations. And then I put down a planner that is from Pumpkin Paper Co. And my rose gold is a little bit different. This specific foil that came with this kit was more of like an orangey rose gold. Mine's more of like a coppery kind of. So it doesn't match fully, but it still works. So I just use this Plan With Me binge sticker. I use the Misfits, so that one is Misfit sticker. So I don't know if you guys will be able to tell, but it is a Misfit sticker. And then I did kind of rearrange this a little bit. You guys see me put this box down first, but I had a Grin and Bear It sticker that was really, really big, and it actually needed to go on the right side, and I didn't want to put it on the same side as the planner, so I just moved it down. It wasn't that big of a deal to move it down. So I put down a Van Sticky Girl to mark that I was printing and cutting orders. I just put cut orders instead of print and cut just because it's easier to do that. And I was, I think, cutting as many orders as I could to get them out before I left. I think there was a couple that I didn't get out before we left, so I obviously shipped them afterward, but I tried to get as many of those opening day orders out as much as possible, and I honestly at that time frame didn't realize that it wasn't even that many orders. Like, it was a decent amount of orders, but like compared to my Black Friday orders, oh my god. And I was overwhelmed with the opening day orders. I was like, oh my gosh, so much support. And then the amount of Black Friday orders I got, I was like, oh my god, so much more support. So thank you to everyone who purchased on Black Friday. I think I still have, as of me filming this voiceover, 11 orders left. I am getting a paper delivery tomorrow, so I should be able to get those out this weekend, which is exciting. Also, a lot of orders are stuck in pre-transit, even though I've dropped them off at the post office, and I'm like, oh, come on, USPS, please don't do this to me, because I know that some people get worried about it, and I'm worried about it. I'm like, please don't do this. But I do know that at least, so the round that I dropped off yesterday, there was one package that got scanned that is in transit, and I'm just like, why is this the only one that got scanned out of like 20 packages? I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. But yeah, so anyway, moving on from that. If you guys did order something from me, I promise if it says it's shipped, I have already dropped it off at the post office. It's just USPS isn't fully updating the tracking on them. But anyway, I designed new releases on this day. I don't know why I went on that whole tangent. And I used another squared off box to mark that, and then the Grin and Bear It's Bear on an iPad. And then I did watch One Tree Hill. I didn't have a One Tree Hill in the rose gold color that I made for myself, so I just wrote it in, and I used an emoji to mark that. And last but not least, I did fold some laundry, so I used a scribbler from Scribble Co. Moving on to Wednesday, it was Veterans Day, so I used another one of those squared off boxes, and the Veterans Day script is from Rose Colored Days. And then I marked that DoorDash app crashed, which, okay, this is actually kind of a fun story with this. So I ordered coffee because I wanted to finish the orders. I didn't want to go get it. I was being lazy, and I ordered coffee, and the app crashed, no joke, like 2 minutes after I placed my order. Guys, this order stayed in my app for 4 days. I decided to wait because I got the app back up, and they were like, you can either get a full refund or you can get a partial one and wait for the order. I was like, well, I might as well see if they'll deliver it. I'll get a partial refund, it's fine. So I waited for it, never came, obviously. It sat in my DoorDash app for 4 days, and I couldn't message them. I had to obviously like call them to get them to fix it, and it was just so funny because I'm like, I'm never getting this order. And the next day, fun fact, it actually said, oh yeah, they're preparing your order. Guys, they weren't preparing my order, even though it updated saying that they were preparing my order. So they were preparing my order for 3 days, and it was like 9,000 minutes overdue or something like that. And I was like, what is this? So I had an order that I finally was able to do, or that I was finally able to cancel, and I actually got a full refund for it. So I got a refund and a half for this one order that sat in my app for like 5 days. So yeah, that happened. But I used a food delivery munchkin to mark that. And then I did finish orders, so I used a Van Sticky Girl. Also, my camera like stopped recording at one point, so that's why I kind of randomly like cut. But I used a Van Sticky Girl to mark finishing orders. I ended up getting Starbucks because I didn't get my Dunkin' order, so I used a munchkin and a Starbucks run to mark that. And then I did do a second drop at the post office, and that envelope, I believe, is from the Coffee Monsters Co. I filmed the new releases for this, and I used a film script from Kinsey's Creations, and then the icon is from Scribble Co. And last but not least, we packed. We technically did leave for Washington on this day, but I marked the road trip on Thursday instead, because the majority of it was driven on Thursday. So I used the munchkin to mark packing for Washington. Moving on to Thursday, I put down a half box, or a squared off half box, and this Grin and Bear It girl, or bear, oh my god, my brain, Grin and Bear It bear to mark the road trip to Washington. We did drive through the night, so majority of Thursday was driving. I did schedule my new releases to go up, so I did publish the new releases on this day, so I just used another Mandy Dreams filming slate to mark that. And then I wanted to make sure we stopped in Starbucks in Portland because I actually collect the You Are Here mugs, and I wanted to get one from Portland, so I used a pumpkin paper co girl to mark Starbucks in Portland. And also the friend that we like came with us, he's a big coffee person, so we actually got Starbucks a lot on this trip. We just lived off of coffee. So yeah, we stopped at a lot of Starbucks on this day. Wow, that was hard to say. But yeah, I wanted to make sure we stopped there purely so I can get my You Are Here mug. And then we did get Panda Express for dinner just because it was right next to our Airbnb. So I just used this ramen munchkin. I don't have very many like Asian type food stickers or Chinese food stickers. So I just used this panda, or not panda. Oh my gosh, I saw the word panda and I said it. This ramen sticker to mark that. And then we did check into our Airbnb. So I just used this kind of hotel munchkin from Once More with Love. It was actually a really cute Airbnb, and honestly, guys, if it wasn't rainy constantly in Washington, I would be so down to live in Washington. Like, I just can't handle the rain. I need sunshine. Me growing up for 26 years in Southern California, I need at least some kind of sunshine, and I just can't deal with the constant overcast, but I loved it up there, and it was just so pretty, and I would hands down live up there if it didn't rain all the time. And then we were just so tired because, like I said, we drove for 20 hours. So we actually fell asleep at 7 o'clock at night and we woke up at 6 a.m. the next morning. So I just used a sleep munchkin to mark that. And I figured it was like a thing to mark because we didn't fall asleep so early. So that was it for Thursday. Moving on to Friday. I was trying to figure out how I was going to mark everything for Friday. Excuse me, my voice is starting to like die. I can't handle this. I can't handle me trying to do voiceovers for 3 times over and over again. Probably could have used an extender on this day, but just decided not to. So I just kind of marked the main things. So first thing for Friday, we did go pick up Riley. So I put down a half box and this like fangirling munchkin to mark that. I don't have very many like dog stickers, which is kind of ironic because I have a dog and I like love my dog to death. But I have a lot of red husky stickers, and obviously my sister's is black, so I was like, I'm not gonna use that. So that was my reasoning. Sorry, I like had a hiccup. That was my reasoning for not using a dog sticker. Was she's not red, she is black. But I just did the fangirling one because I thought it was pretty applicable. And then we then went to Gasworks Park, which was so cool. I was so excited to finally get that like iconic Seattle picture. Unfortunately, it was sunny, which I know sounds weird with me saying unfortunately it was sunny, but the glare on the water was kind of obnoxious. So it was kind of hard to take pictures, but it still worked. We did also go to the troll under the bridge, which was really cool to see. Also, we didn't spend much time there because as soon as we got there, like a bunch of other people showed up, so we're like, okay, we can't really spend much time here. But to mark Gasworks Park, I just used this emoji with a map, and then I used a emoji with a camera to mark that we did go to the Space Needle, which was my one thing that I wanted to do. We didn't go to the top of it because 1, COVID, 2, I'm afraid of heights, and 3, I already had enough anxiety, and I could not handle being inside of a Space Needle with a mask on, with COVID, and with anxiety. There was no way I was going to be able to do it. So we didn't go up it, but we did go into like the gift shop, and we did obviously see it, which was really, really cool. And then we did go to Pike Place Market. This was kind of where my anxiety peaked the most because there was so many people there. It was insanely packed. But I used a like happy munchkin to mark that. And then we did obviously go to the first ever Starbucks. Me being an avid like Starbucks person, I couldn't not go to the first ever Starbucks. So we actually waited for like an hour, and obviously my sister had the puppy at this point, and it was kind of funny because she caused such a big scene. So we were waiting outside in a line, and she said to the worker, she's like, "Is it okay if I bring her in if I just hold her?" And the worker was like, "It's okay. I mean, I see a baby, not a puppy. So like, and also we've been eyeing that thing for the past 30 minutes and we all want her to come in here." So she caused such a big problem with the workers because they were just so distracted by her. It was kind of entertaining. She had her first ever puppuccino and the first ever Starbucks, and it was so cool. So yeah, I was so excited to finally go there, and I did get my You Are Here mug for that as well. So I just used a stick with the Plan Co girl to mark that. And then we did just play with Riley for a decent amount of time, trying to wear her out before the night ended. So I just used a paw print from the foil that came with the kit to mark that. Moving on to Saturday and Sunday, I obviously put down the weekend banner. And then we kind of changed it up on this day. We actually went to a place called Woods Coffee, which they have a sugar cookie latte that I think that Starbucks or Dunkin' needs to adopt, because it was so good. It kind of reminded me of like a hug in a cup. That was how I described it, and it was so good. So like that, or can like Woods Coffee come down to California, because I would die for that because it was amazing. But we went there, so I just used a pumpkin paper Co girl with some leaves and like on a bench to mark that. And then we did go to the Woods Coffee that was at Boulevard Park. Don't know like how to explain it. It's kind of on the water, but it's a park, and there was actually a lot of people there once like we were there. We were there for like maybe an hour. And as like time went on, it actually got pretty packed. But I used this stick with the Plan Co girl with some leaves just to mark that, because I figured that would work the best. We then moved on to go to the Peace Arch. Obviously, we cannot go over the Canadian border because of COVID. Obviously, the borders are closed, but we were able to go to the Peace Arch and like that little park area. And because of that, I technically did step on Canadian soil. There was border control, but you technically are in Canadian soil if you're walking before you hit the border one for the cars, if that makes any sense. So we were able to go over by the Peace Arch and go a little bit farther. So I can technically say I've been to Canada, even though I technically haven't, but I do eventually want to go to Canada. But I still wanted to mark that I stepped on Canadian soil. But I used just a munchkin with a camera to mark the Peace Arch, and then I used a squared off box and this fangirling bear from Paper Bits Co. to mark stepped on Canadian soil, because it was actually really cool. It was extremely cold though. It was so windy over in that area, and it was like 40 degrees, and I was like, my little Southern California heart can't handle how cold this is. And then we did just kind of clean up the Airbnb and make sure we had everything packed, so I used a house icon to mark that. And then we did get Chick-fil-A. We technically left on this day, but I didn't mark that we left. We were planning on getting some other place for food, but the place that we wanted to go to was a barbecue place, and they actually sold out of what we wanted, so we just kind of skipped it. We just got Chick-fil-A. So I used some chicken nuggets to mark that, and the Chick-fil-A script is from my shop. And then moving to Sunday, Sunday was our road trip home, which, oh my god, guys, the road trip home was so annoying. It rained all the way from Seattle to, I think, about Sacramento area in California. So it rained all through Oregon. It rained through a majority of Washington, and it was annoying. I ended up with the like 1 a.m. to like 3 a.m. shift of driving, and it was pouring rain, and my anxiety just couldn't handle it. I think it was also because anxiety from the trip and just being exhausted, but I couldn't do it. I actually had to switch, which I've never had to do before. But I have actually almost gotten into a couple accidents in the rain, so I think that kind of caused part of the problem, but it was insane the amount of rain that happened. But I used a Van Sticky Girl to mark our road trip home, and then a Munchkin from Once More with Love to mark the insane rain, and I also used a low battery Munchkin to mark that I was just so anxious and exhausted. So I think I ended up taking over driving it again at like maybe 7 or so. I don't really remember in the morning. And I think we're in Bakersfield area or maybe Paso Robles area. It wasn't raining anymore, thankfully. But on my time frame that I drove, I actually drove for 4 hours, I think, maybe 5 hours at the end of it. And I ended up in so much pain by the end of it because I ended up with cramps. And I was like, this is the worst thing ever. So I was exhausted, I was anxious, and I ended up being in so much pain because I started my period on this day. And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm driving home after a 20-hour drive, and I was in so much pain. They were so bad. Like it was so bad, and it was at the end of our road trip too. So my body was already angry and like sleep deprived, and I was like, here, we're gonna cause you more pain. So yeah, that sucked. So I used a Munchkin to mark that, and then We did obviously introduce the pups to each other, which they are decently okay. They do have some issues every now and then, but they are for the most part okay. So I used a fancy label and another fox and cactus girl with some dogs to mark that. And then we got the habit for dinner, so I used a pumpkin paper co girl for that. And last but not least, I just marked that I was super tired, so I used a Glam Planner girl, and the script is from Glam Planner as well. So, after 3 attempts to finish this voiceover, I finally finished it. That is going to be everything for this spread. I'm going to gather up, obviously, all of the, like, sheets and everything and flip through them. And then do a wiggle for you guys, which I think I did a decent wiggle this time. I think. I don't know. We'll see with me actually, like, looking back on this if I did. But I think I did a pretty decent wiggle. Maybe. Obviously, I still have a lot of leftovers in this kit. Also, I get a lot of questions on what I do with these leftovers. Stay tuned for, I don't remember now if it got pushed back, Friday or Saturday's video. I think it's going to be Saturday's video, because you will find out what I do with these leftovers in that video. So that's an exciting video that will be coming. So yeah, that is everything for this plan with me. Here is the wiggle that I'm going to give you guys. I don't know, I think I did better. Did I? I don't know. There was something on the back of this that was like, what is this? What is my finger hitting? But I think I did better. I don't know. You guys are probably like, no, Lindsay, you're still terrible at doing wiggles. But if you guys enjoyed this video, as always, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you are not already to see more PLANMAS videos, and then leave me some kind of comment down below. I love responding to all of your guys' comments. I have a bunch of them I need to respond to, but leave them down below, and I will see you guys in another video very, very soon. Bye, guys.